Hey guys, STTM here, and in today's video, we're looking at another really competitive conference, and this really competitive conference is the Big Ten. Now, we know the SEC for being really competitive, but the Big Ten is as well. I'm going to show how this is a really talented conference as well. Well, we all know that, but I'm just going to get more in details and why not. But before we get into all that, make sure you like, subscribe, put on notifications, and comment on the video. It lets me know what you think, gets me more recommended, and if you put on notifications, you will literally be updated about the newest STTM videos. So yeah, guys, you do not want to miss those. Now, enough with the Japanese. Let's get straight into the video. Goodbye! Okay. This conference actually has 7 whole ranked teams. Indiana at 23, Michigan at 10, Ohio State at 3, Oregon at 6, Penn State at 7, Illinois at 24, and USC at 11. That is 7 teams. Yes, 7. Now, let's look at one of those ranked teams. I'm actually shocked that 2 of them are ranked, but let's look at this first one. Indiana. Okay, yeah. They actually have a really easy schedule, so I think that might actually be explaining a few things. But it's still really impressive if they go like 10-2. That's literally the worst case scenario is literally 9-3 for this Indiana team. Like, I like what's going on. Okay, I like it. I like it. They already have beaten some fellow conference teams before, like UCLA, as we saw. Michigan, we will see them. Now, this team is going to be probably a little worse, a little weakened because, they didn't have a quarterback and they barely beat Minnesota. We all know Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State are pretty good. Illinois, they lost to Penn State, but they're still ranked. And, well, their schedule actually isn't too bad. 9-3 is their best. And, well, that's a huge improvement. USC is really good. Nebraska has been really good. Matt LaFleur has finally been taking over. Dylan Raiola, what's his name? I actually want to see how he is doing for Nebraska stats. I actually want to see that. Let's go look. Well, yeah, Dylan Raiola, amazing. Yeah, he's amazing. Dylan Raiola. He is a really good quarterback. I also like that 6'3" build too. He's been doing great for them. That's probably a good reason on why the Nebraska Cornhuskers have been really good. There's also some other really good non-ranked teams. Rutgers and Iowa have looked pretty good. Michigan State, Washington, Northwestern, Wisconsin have all looked pretty good as well. Maryland has looked good. Minnesota is a little bit on the bottom end, but that's still pretty good. Purdue and USC are like the worst teams in this conference, and they haven't really looked amazing by any means. They kind of looked like the weakest links in this full-out 18-team conference, but they're actually not bad though. Like they're not like the worst. They're not like the worst thing ever though. Like there's actually a lot worse Power 5 schools this season, so I'm not really mad at that. So yeah, I'll take it. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice. But this is sorting out like the conference standings, but in actual standings, the actual standings, USC and Purdue are the worst teams at 1-3. Yeah, which isn't really like the best by any means, but overall, this is a really talented conference, and overall, there's a lot of really talented records, so they're definitely playing, and they're most definitely, from what I'm seeing, they're most definitely playing well versus the non-conference teams, so that is pretty nice to hear. That adds some stuff to my claim that the Big Ten is also a really talented conference. Well, we obviously all know that, but I just want to go through this talent, because, yeah, I just want to go through it, all right? Consider this Japanese, but I mean, this isn't the intro Japanese, what I said earlier, right? This is not the intro Japanese. We stop with that Japanese and we get into the real Japanese that you guys want to hear. Yeah. Now, this is actually a pretty talented conference. What like metrics should I go into for the Big Ten? Conference stats. Ooh, yes. I want to see who's doing really good in the conference. I did that in my ACC breakdown. I did that in my ACC video. Also going to do it in the Big Ten one. So, Billy Edwards Jr., Curtis Rourke, Will Rogers, Dylan Raiola, Miller Moss, Dylan Gabriel. Ooh, Max Brosmer is already looking really good. Aiden Childs, yes. Luke Altmaier, yeah. Will Howard. Drew Aller for sure has to be here. Ethan Garber's actually not that bad. Tyler Van Dyke and Davis Warren have been pretty terrible, though. This was pretty bad at the quarterback position, these two schools. Cade McNamara, wish he could do better. Ethan Kaliakmanis. I don't really know too much about him. I don't even know if I said his name. Wait, Kaliakmanis. Is that it? Ethan Kaliakmanis. I mean, he has a nice build. This is an amazing touchdown to interception ratio, so I'm assuming he's doing really good. But the reason why Rutgers is really good is that running back Kyle Monangai, or is that how you say his name? Oh my god, I feel so dumb. Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai. That's his name. Got it. Monangai. Kyle Monangai. He's been really good. Obviously, that's a big reason why Rutgers has been so successful. Donovan Edwards, pretty overrated. Not gonna lie, he's literally 18th. He's literally 18th place. Honestly, yeah, he's actually been kind of bad. Roman Hemby is pretty good. Nicholas Singleton or Kyle Monangai has probably been based off rushing yards, the best running back in the Big Ten. First off, let's look at Kyle Monangai. I like his short and speedy build, I think, is what he's been going for, and it's pretty much been working as 6 rushing touchdowns, and the second-ranked Big Ten running back in rushing yards. Now, let's look at Nicholas Singleton. He's a little taller, but he's really fast, and he's done pretty well. Getting the team a nice gain as his average is 7 yards, which is pretty good, to be honest. That's over half of a first down. He hasn't gotten as much rushing touchdowns, and not as much yards. So maybe Kyle Monangai is better, but Nicholas Singleton is actually sharing with Katrin Allen. And Katrin Allen has been pretty good as well. So that probably is holding him back from being the top running back in this conference. Although, honestly, I think it's really Quinshon Judkins. That's probably just based off of running back draft rankings. But Quinshon Judkins, talented guy. He's also sharing too. This is a really talented conference on offense so far. I wish it showed. I wish offensive line stats were being shown. For example, their blocks and pancakes. I wish those were being shown on stuff like ESPN. But no, apparently. But sadly, it is not. Receiving yards, average. Ty Felton has looked really good for Maryland. Elijah Surratt for Indiana. Ohio State, yeah, we all know about the Ohio State wide receiver room. And their tight end core is pretty good too. But the wide receiver room is really what is the key part of this offense. That's why Will Howard has actually looked really good so far this season. Daniel Jackson, Tez Johnson, and Evan Stewart for Oregon. Tyler Warren, I think he might need more draft stock because he's actually beating Colston Loveland a little bit. Now, let's actually compare the two. Let's actually side-by-side compare the two between Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. We're actually going to do a deep dive side-by-side comparison. Tyler Warren, he's tall tight end. He catches really well. He's a little bit of a deep threat because he's averaging 13 yards per reception. That's nice deep threat. I like that. He only has 2 touchdowns, though. Now, let's look at Colston Loveland, and let's really decide how it's going. Note that Colston Loveland has actually had some time off. I believe, yeah. He has had some time of injuries. I don't think Tyler Warren has had that, but Colston Loveland has. Now, we're going to look at Colston Loveland. He hasn't played as much, but he's not as much as a deep threat, but he's definitely getting more usage than Tyler Warren. And I do actually like his build more, despite Tyler Warren being shorter. But actually, no, he's taller. My bad, guys. Tyler Warren is only taller by an inch. It's similar. The build is it has its similarities, but both their builds also have a lot of differences as well. Now we're going to go into their stats based off how they've done throughout their entire career in this conference. I think Colston Loveland, is gonna get the win for best tight end in this conference, but that's not the main point. This is just showing that the offense this conference offers is really talented. So yeah, there's definitely talent. Oh, don't get me started with defense. It's really good as well. Sees that Iowa linebacker Jay Higgins is most definitely standing out here. He's been a pretty famous name across the draft process, and is overall just pretty talented. Is overall just pretty good as well. He has a couple pass deflects. He has some picks. Let's actually look at this. Yeah, seems Maryland might have the best secondary here. Illinois has also had a pretty good one. Xavier Scott and Torrey Cox Jr. Will Johnson, we obviously know he gets picks. We all know how elite Will Johnson is. Jay Higgins, amazing linebacker. Denzel Burke, another elite corner. Must recommend watching some of his highlights. I mean, we all know how good he is. Malcolm Hartzog Jr. I actually have never heard of his name up until some of his good games that I've seen on TV. Who's leading in tackles, actually? Solo tackles. It's Carson Swessinger out of UCLA. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Kane Madrano also done pretty well. So, yeah, I think UCLA's defense is pretty good despite their record. Defense is pretty good for UCLA. They have a couple guys. Total tackles. Let's see who's leading that. It's Aiden Fisher out of Indiana. Minnesota has a few good guys here, actually. So does Purdue. UCLA, Carson Schwesinger, Jay Higgins. Jay Higgins has been perfect. Not really perfect, but he's been amazing. Minnesota, another representative. Well, we're looking, and yeah, I think based off what we're seeing off stats, it's safe to say this conference is really talented. I liked going through it. I like seeing all these talented stats. Let me know what your thoughts on the Big Ten for football is. And, well, STTM is now out. See y'all next time. Road to 500 subs!